is every bet I placed for UFC 320. First off, here's every fight that I am not betting on for various reasons, starting with Ateba Gautier and Tristan Vines. This is a short notice fight. I don't like that. This is a debut for Tristan Vines. I don't like that. And we all know Ateba is going to win by KO, and that is like minus 700. I am not betting that, even though it's basically free. We got Veronica Hardy taking on Brogan Walker. These are just way too insane of odds. Veronica Hardy should win. Brogan Walker is winless in the UFC, but I don't feel like parlaying Veronica Hardy, and I think she wins by decision. I could see a submission finish plus 750 for Veronica Hardy by submission. If you want to sprinkle that for me, I personally don't bet that. We also got Patchy Mix and Jakob Wilklatz. I mean, both of these guys are winless in the UFC. One of them is making their debut, Jacob Wicklex, and one of them is 0-1, Patchy Mix. I do think Patchy Mix wins this fight. I do think he wins by decision. I don't think Jakob Wicklex has anything to offer on the feet, but like it says there, too many red flags to actually bet it. And Farid Basharat and Chris Gutierrez. I do think Farid Basharat wins by decision. I think it's pretty straightforward. If he gets takedowns, he wins, but there is an outside chance he doesn't have insane takedown success, and at that point, the over-under is 2.5 rounds, and it's going to go to decision at a high clip. Gutierrez could sneak a split here, so it's just razor close, and the odds don't reflect that. Don't feel like betting that. First fight we are betting on, though, is Josh Emmett taking on Youssef Zalal. Now, in this one, I think Youssef Zalal actually finds a finish. A lot of people are saying he's just going to pitter-pat his way to a decision. I do agree. I do think he will be on the outside circling Josh Emmett for a majority of the fight. But I think at some point, Josh Emmett's going to get frustrated. Josh Emmett's going to force the action, and that's going to either lead to a Zalal KO with a big knee up the middle, or that's going to lead to Zalal getting takedown success, and at that point, I think he's very live to get a submission finish. So 0.4 units on Youssef Zalal to win by sub. He's minus 500, and if you have a price tag like that, more often than not, you're going to be able to find the finish against your opponent. Josh Emmett got submitted by Yair Rodriguez, all right? So Youssef Zalal should find it. Next fight we're betting on is Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Austin Vanderford. Now, in this one, I think Ramiz Brahimaj is very, very live as an underdog. I don't think Austin Vanderford is that good. I think he has good wrestling and good grappling, sure, but he's very chinny. Both losses are by KO. He got nearly chinned on the Contender Series as well. Ramiz has been looking better and better in his recent fights. I know he's had some weird ones where Court McGee schooled him, Max Griffin schooled him, and, you know, he has performances where he doesn't look the best. But in this one, we're going with Ramiz Brahimaj. I have him picked by KO. I think he can get it done in the first round. Honestly, he's never won a decision, so if it does get to the scorecards, I don't like his chances of winning that. I think his cardio will deplete as the fight goes on, so I'm really banking on Brahimaj to get the finish early, either round 1 or round 2. He has the power to do it, and Vanderford has the chin to get chinned. Next fight we're betting on is Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen. In this one, a lot of people think Merab wins by decision. I can see that 100%. People are also saying the odds are way too wide. Let's take a shot at Corey Sandhagen moneyline plus 280. I don't hate that play either. I mean, if he's in a title fight, he's the #1 contender. He must be good enough to actually win the fight. Merab, however, is just so dominant lately. He's like in the peak of his prime, peak of his cardio powers, and I think if he shoots for infinite takedowns, yes, he can win by a dominant decision. But against Sean O'Malley, he found the sub, and if you've been watching the footage of his training, he is fishing for subs. He even got a sub on Demetrius Johnson when he trained with him a month ago. So Merab by sub, plus 900. If there's any odds in this fight that are way too wide, it's this one. We know Merab's not KOing Corey, and we know that Merab's going to shoot for takedowns and probably have success. So if he gets it to the mat, Corey's been subbed before. He's not impervious to the sub. 0.4 units on Merab sub. Don't hate this play. Let's get it. Next fight we're betting on is Magomed Ankalaev taking on Alex Pereira. In their first fight, the over-under was 2.5 rounds, minus 175 for the over. In this one, the over-under is 4.5 rounds. Over 4.5 is plus 100, I believe. So the odds makers are basically telling us that because the first fight went to decision, this one will. Well, I'm here to tell you that there was a reason the first fight was over 2.5 rounds. I think this fight ends by KO. I actually lean Magomed Ankalaev to find the KO. He showed glimpses of nearly KOing Pereira in the first fight. And Pereira is always live for a KO finish with his left hook. He can get a KO by leg kicks. I think this is going to stay standing for a majority of it like it was in the first fight. Magomed Ankalaev didn't have any takedown success in the first fight. So in this one, I'm not really expecting him to have takedown success either. And if he actually does, he can even get the ground and pound finish. So Alex Pereira is live for the KO on the feet. Magomed's live for the KO on the feet and the ground. Give me this fight to end by KO. Now we're going to go over a series of parlays because this card doesn't have many good plus money spots, so sometimes you have to manufacture them. With that being said, first leg we're going with is Edmen Shahbazyan versus Andre Muniz. I think Edmen finds the KO. I think he does it fairly easily. Muniz's chin is made of dust. Edmen in the past has shown that he does have holes in his takedown defense, but that is as the fight progresses. Muniz is not a cardio king. He's not going to out-cardio Edmen. Therefore, Edmen should find the KO. And we also have Jiri and Khalil. I think Jiri wins, and with the hot take, I think he wins by decision. So with that being said, I'm parlaying Edmen Shahbazyan moneyline and the over 1.5 rounds in the Jiri Khalil fight. You parlay them together, you get plus 122, and I have 2 units on this. So fairly confident Edmen wins, and I'm fairly confident that the Khalil and Jiri fight at least hits the over 1.5. If you look back at Jiri's last 6-7 fights, they haven't gone to decision, but they have hit the over 1.5 at a high clip, as has Khalil's last 4 or 5 fights. So liking this parlay. Parlay number 2, first leg we're going with is Punahele Soriano taking on Nikolai Veretnikov. I think Punahele Soriano has every advantage to win. I think he can land a KO blow with some overhands. I think he can mix in the wrestling and get some ground and pound off, just like Austin Vanderford did. And therefore, I think he wins the fight. I also got Macy Chiasson and Daniel Santos. I think Macy Chiasson has a lot of grappling upside in this fight. So if it hits the mat, I think she can win. And on the feet, she throws similar volume to Santos, but I think her strikes are actually more powerful, and she clips those elbows in, maybe land something on Yana to make her bleed, and maybe make Macy win the round. So 2 confident money line picks, toss them together, Punahele and Chiasson, plus 100. We got 2 units on this. I'm liking this play as well. Parlay number 3. Okay, first leg, we got Daniel Santos taking on Ju Sang Yu. Daniel Santos just missed weight by 10 pounds. A lot of pounds. And he did that in his last fight. And usually when Daniel Santos misses weight, he's going to weight bully you. He's going to mix in takedowns and grappling. This weight miss, people might be like, oh, this is bad for Santos. No, actually, it's amazing for Santos, because he's going to have tons of wrestling success, most likely now, because of that. So, first leg, I kind of hinted at it, but we'll go on to the next one. Joe Pyfer, Magomedov. I think Joe Pyfer wins. I think he wins by KO. I'm predicting a round 2 finish. I think if it stays standing at a far distance, Abus is live to land the leg kicks and stuff like that. But the closer it gets to the pocket, that's when Joe Pyfer can land those boxing combinations, and I think he can land something big on Mr. Magomedov. So with that being said, we're parlaying Daniel Santos moneyline and Joe Pyfer moneyline plus 126. 2 units on this as well. If you want to take it a step further, you can do Santos by sub, Pyfer KO. But, that's not betting advice, not financial advice. I'm sticking with the money lines. And the final parlay is actually the Finz and Walker Spaces parlay. I actually tracked it this time because I'm liking the odds. We're going with Punahele moneyline, Edmen Shahbazyan by KO, and Jiri Prochazka and Khalil over 1.5. We already went over these picks, but now we're doing a 4th parlay with all 3 legs. You throw 1 unit on this, plus 253. I think this smacks at a pretty high clip. And the Finz Hammerlock, my weekly most confident underdog pick of the card. And we know by now this is a fade, okay? We are 24-52. You are not supposed to tail this. When the Finz Hammerlock hits, it's amazing. It's like Paul Revere comes down the road and is like, the Hammerlock has hit! The Hammerlock has hit! It doesn't happen often, okay? We're on an 8-week losing streak. Whoever I put as this Finz Hammerlock most likely will get finished or lose by brutal fashion, 30-25, like Luana Carolina did last week. With that being said, we only have one underdog picked on the entire card, and I'm not going to put someone as the lock that I didn't actually pick. So we're going with Ramiz Brahimaj as the Finz hammer lock. He has a lot of paths to victory. He can win on the feet by KO. He can get a sneaky guillotine if Austin Vanderford's shooting a dusty takedown. There is a very real chance that Vanderford has takedown success because Brahimaj's spine is a little messed up from surgery and stuff like that, and Vanderford can just lay on him. That is very real. That's why the Finz hammerlock is on an 8-week losing streak, and it's 24-52. It's not good. But this could be the week it turns around. So if we hit this week, you got to start tailing. All right, but if we lose this week, continue fading. All right, this is the experimental play. And of course, you know I got to provide an insane long shot. This week, we actually have enough legs for a cycle. Sometimes I do 3 money lines. I do 3 props. This week, we're going with 3 props. We're going with Jiri Prochazka to win by decision. Okay, I think it goes to decision at a high clip. And I think if it hits the scorecards, Jiri will have done enough to win. Now, I don't think Jiri has won a decision yet in the UFC, but this matchup is kind of tailor-made for him to win by decision because if he mixes in takedowns, they might be very free. And if he does do that, he's going to win all the minutes. So, Jiri by decision. Merab by sub, plus 1,000 now. I mean, if he gets takedowns, the sub prop becomes very live. And the main event, Magomed versus Pereira, to not go the distance. Minus 115, you might say that's a whack bet. But the first fight, if you watched it back, there was many moments where both fighters had a capability to knock the other person out. And I think in this one, it's going to rear its ugly head, and we actually will see a finish. So 1250 wins 1900. You're welcome.